Imagine you're sitting there on your porch reading about guns and hunting and all things good, and then you see this ad. We are coming. Blackwater, judging by the logo, the infamous private security group whose trigger-happy antics further disgraced the very name mercenary.
Request permission to engage with intent to conduct a smash. Over.
There were dead bodies everywhere on the street. The car in front of me was burning with 2 people inside. Among the dead bodies lying on the street, I saw a child's body, probably 7 years old.
Just last week, a former Blackwater contractor was charged with first-degree murder for his part in that slaughter. It was then that things went iffy for the mercenary group, which was then rebranded, renamed, and resold into obscurity. But it's presumably back now.
The United States has spent dearly in blood and treasure and time in Afghanistan.
Eric Prince, co-founder of the original Blackwater. Now that everyone's fearful over Trump's Afghanistan withdrawal, Eric Prince sees an opportunity.
The option I was pushing, the options that were considered by some in the White House, an irregular warfare option that would use CIA capability, some special forces capability, some contracted capability to strengthen, to give a skeletal support structure to the Afghan security forces.
Prince is selling a new kind of war, a private war. War waged not by governments, but by corporations. The plan is simple. 6,000 mercenaries backed up by a few thousand US Special Forces guys. Give them a small air force, private air force, and it'll only cost you about $5 billion a year. A year. For reference, the Afghan war has cost, on average, $5 billion a month for 17 years. But the Pentagon is reluctant. You just can't trust national security, prestige, reputation to mercs, to guys willing to kill for money.
When the Americans put their nation's credibility on the line, privatizing it is probably not a wise idea.
Eric Prince has been at it for years. He's been selling this plan since he found out that the president wanted to get out of Afghanistan.
The president was right to campaign against endless wars.
How do you get your message to him? Because he's going to have to overrule Jim Mattis for this to happen.
If we leave decisions on warfare solely to the Pentagon, we will be at war forever.
Well, Mr. Prince, Happy New Year to you. James Mattis, U.S. Secretary of Defense, will leave his post on the 1st of January. And John Bolton, Trump's security advisor, he's much more pliable.
There are always a lot of discussions. I find them helpful. I'm always open to new ideas.
The issue here is different. It's more about principles, about morals. We know how Blackwater behaved in Iraq. We know what they did when they had immunity. They ran wild. They shot and killed with abandon. Would you trust the same people to run an entire war?
Trump may do it because it won't have the spotlight that U.S. troops did. It's quite conceivable that he might buy into that idea. The United States has had over 100,000 troops in Afghanistan, and still the Taliban has grown. And in terms of its influence, the answer will not be the use of private military contractors to resolve the overall problem of Afghanistan, but it's going to take negotiation and discussion among the countries in that region.
Eric Prince's selling point may not be that he's cheaper. It's that Trump and the Pentagon will become less accountable. Afghanistan will no longer be entirely their responsibility. If Blackwater or whoever else messes up, that'll be on their heads, and it'll all be written off to plausible deniability and corporate bureaucracy. So what do you think? Worth a try? Letting mercenaries run an entire war?